I'm here to talk to you a bit more, and I'm going to try and make this really actionable, but talk to you about how you can deploy agent-based technologies. I'm working really hard on not saying AI, because the boss said don't say it. But I want to provide some really actionable things that you guys can take away, because there's a lot of high-level stuff gets spoken about, and I'm working in the detail with a lot of this stuff. And the first one that I wanted to bring to you all is make sure that you earn an internal mandate. So if you want to deploy agent-based technologies, there's going to be skepticism. It's inevitable. You need to earn the mandate first initially. So do that by demonstrating clear results, clear opportunity, having something specific and something small. We'll come back to it in a little bit later to build out on how you take it further. But what I'll also say to this audience, because I've spoken to some of you, some very senior and important people in here, I should say, you guys can also provide that mandate. So be conscious of your teams who are looking, or maybe identify those people that want to take this and want to run with it, and give them the mandate as well. You need to go earn it from your seniors, but you're the ones providing it to the people working for you. So give them the opportunity, listen to it, and understand it. Secondly, data hygiene. I was tempted to ask people to put their hands up if they think they got good data. I won't because of time, but I don't suspect many hands have gone up, and if they had, I'd have asked you a lot more questions. Nobody has good, perfect data, and you don't need it. We use the term data hygiene because it's a continuous process. You're continually updating data, and agent-based technologies, like Pactum and others, help you improve that data because they help you do a lot of things systematically in a way where you can build your data out. So don't wait and worry about getting your data perfect. I'm very confident that the vast majority, if not all of you in here, will have good enough data to get going with some AI, some agent-based technologies. But use that and use them quickly because they will help you improve your hygiene. It's a continuous process. It is not a goal. Data hygiene is not we don't get there. You don't get to data cleanliness because as soon as you've got there, you stop and then it's dirty again a week later. It's a continuous process. Thirdly, this is written in a very negotiation-based way, understand your trade-offs. But to take it a little more abstract for other agent-based technologies, think about it as not operating the autopilot, but configuring the autopilot. You're not now the one pressing go and sitting back and watching it. Particularly when you're getting started with them, you need to think about it more deeply and understand how you're configuring the autopilot and how you want it to run. Sometimes people forget that, but that's something that haven't necessarily thought about and will need to in this process. A specific example for us would be, have you ever considered if it's worth trading 10 days of payment terms for an extra month of warranty? It's a really interesting, weird, kind of odd trade-off to do and very difficult to think about. If you want to run agent-based technology or autonomous negotiations, you need to work with us and yourselves and finance teams and treasury to start to understand what the value of each of those things are, and then the technologies can help, as Martin said, with Mesos, to bring those to life a little bit more. The next one is get into the shoes of the person on the receiving end. In our instance, that's a supplier. Too often in procurement, we think about things from our buyer's perspective, from our category manager's perspective. But actually, often with agent-based technologies, nearly said it again, you end up thinking, or we in procurement, and my background is purely procurement, is we end up thinking about it from a category manager's perspective, from a buyer's perspective. Most often the receiving end is not that. It's someone internally within your organization. It's your suppliers, it's your finance teams, it's accounts payable, whoever it might be. Put yourself in the shoes of the other provider or the person on the other end, both at a holistic level when you're getting started, but then also when you're running into specific activities that it's doing. A real example from just like last week with a customer of ours, they set out a negotiation to get service provisions for stores in a particular state, and they asked the supplier to provide prices for stores in a state. States are rather large places with big cities with very differing cost bases. So the prices were very different. They didn't put themselves, they knew what city they meant, but they just put in the state because that was the obvious thing. The supplier gets it, they have no idea what to do with it. So you end up back at square one. So you need to think about it from a recipient's perspective and what they're understanding. Very American phrase, apologies for any of my American cousins, but nail it and scale it, as Walmart said, is the next one. Coming back to that mandate, you get the mandate, you go do something. You need to have proven, measurable, ideally financial, but often efficiency-based benefits that you can share. Do that in a particular area that's lower risk to begin with. So in our examples, tail spend requests or payment terms, for example, in a negotiation perspective. But start in a smaller area that's lower risk, prove it, and then scale it out. And then scale it out by category, by geography, by business unit, by division, whatever makes sense. But it starts off, the kind of steps are, make sure you've got the mandate, you've got the support, people are kind of buying into doing it. Then when you do it, prove it out, nail it down, but don't try and eat the elephant, as the phrase goes. Start out with small chunks, and then once you've proven that, that flywheel effect will start to kick in. And then the last one, and for me the most important one, and I know there's been a lot of talk about this, I'm going to try and be as specific because some of the talks haven't maybe glossed over at the higher level, but human collaboration matters now more than ever. Thinking about our teams, the teams you guys are looking after and how their roles and jobs are changing are more important than ever. If you think about it as agent-based technologies in the very near future, it will be the case that a buyer will have a team of 5 working for them. That's not a team of 5 humans, it's a team of 5 agents running negotiations, ideally, hopefully, but also sourcing events, running queries with suppliers, running risk management, running whatever it might be. And that's a very different skill, managing 5 agents to just doing what you can do on your own. Your scale is hugely amplified, like massively. So you're handling a hell of a lot more, and as a lot of you folks know in this room, I'm sure, who've been buyers at one day and are now CPOs, it's a very different job for those 2 things. But then similarly, the skills that they need, the stuff that humans still need to do, become more and more specialized. So if I take negotiations, we're going to take away, ideally, we'll take away the load, the effort on the less than 500K, less than $1 million, less than a couple of million negotiations. But we're going to leave the ones that require human ingenuity. And there are still some that need human ingenuity. Martin's up here talking about the best practices because humans are always going to have to negotiate. But you need to skill the teams to be able to do that. And that's key.